In this section we're going to look at the lymphatic system. This is probably my favourite system and perhaps the one you can have the most direct effect on as a massage therapist. So what is it? The lymphatic system comprises a series of vessels and filtration centres, or nodes, which act together to return fluid to the bloodstream free of toxins and infection and rich in nutrients. The lymphatic system's key functions are a fluid filtration agent to fight pathogens or infections, a preventer and reducer of edema, otherwise known as swelling, absorber of lipids into the digestive system, and it is a primary agent in vascular homeostasis. But how does it work? Firstly, you need to get fluid into the system. As blood enters the capillaries under high pressure, fluid is forced out of the blood and into the tissues. We now refer to this as interstitial or tissue fluid. This fluid acts as a transfer agent to allow nutrients and waste products to move into and out of the cells. As transfer of nutrients is quicker in fluid, this increases the rate of diffusion between the blood plasma and the tissue fluid, meaning that nutrients can reach cells quicker, and likewise, waste can be removed more quickly, preventing build-up of waste and toxins within the tissues. Most of this fluid is filtered back into the circulatory system, but any molecules, such as bacteria, that are too large to pass into the capillaries, and any excess fluid, are able to enter the lymphatic system, at which point the fluid complex is referred to as lymph. Tissue fluid will move into lymph vessels as pressure in the tissues builds up. Within all tissues there are a series of blind-ended tubes called lymphatic capillaries. These structures are made up of overlapping endothelial cells, creating valves along their length. These open when fluid pressure builds up too high in the tissues, allowing fluid and molecules to enter the lymphatic system. As these capillaries originate in the tissues, they are closed at one end, meaning that fluid will always be passed back up through the system. This is important as it will prevent edema within the tissues. Lymph can now be transported through the system. The capillaries pass into larger lymphatic vessels, where the lymph can be moved along by a number of factors. The first of these is skeletal muscle contraction. Gravity is also a key player, draining lymph where the limbs are elevated. The third mechanism is peristaltic contraction of the smooth muscles surrounding the vessels. Finally, lymph can be moved simply by fluid pressure, created both by increased tissue fluid but also a negative pressure gradient from breathing. As you breathe in, the pressure in the thorax decreases, physically drawing lymph up through the vessels to an area of lower pressure. As you can see, there are many similarities between the movement of lymph and the movement of blood in the veins. All lymph will re-enter the bloodstream via the thoracic duct and the right lymphatic duct, which feed fluid into the subclavian vein, which sits underneath the clavicle. So far, so simple, but that only explains one element of the system. On its journey back to the subclavian vein, the lymph passes through a series of larger and larger vessels, from capillaries to vessels to trunks. These vessels pass the lymph through a series of filters. We call these nodes. Lymph nodes are small, bean-like structures with two major functions. They filter and destroy harmful material from the lymph fluid, and they produce lymphocytes. As lymph travels through the system, it will pass through between 8 and 10 lymph nodes. These nodes are strategically positioned around the body and vary in size from the head of a pin to a large peanut. Within these lymph nodes are specialised lymphatic tissue, surrounded by fibrous capsules. This creates compartments, commonly known as nodules. These nodules are where the magic happens. Lymphocytes get produced and waste material is destroyed. In order to effectively filter the lymph, there are a series of adaptations. Feeding into every lymph node, there will be up to 4 or 5 vessels. These are afferent vessels, while coming out of the node is only one, the efferent vessel. With the incoming afferent vessels combined with the fibrous nodules, this effectively creates a maze. We call these sections sinuses. Both of these things mean that lymph must slow down within the node, exposing it to the nodules for longer. This gives increased time to identify the bacteria, release lymphocytes and fight any pathogens to reduce the risk of them entering the bloodstream. By having such a large number of nodes, this process may be repeated, and therefore, by the time fluid re-enters the bloodstream, any waste products should be destroyed. These groups of nodes are found in clusters in various key locations around the body. These groups are the cubital, axillary, abdominal, inguinal and popliteal, and in the head and neck you have the auricular, occipital, cervical and the submandibular. These groups of nodes can often become inflamed when there is an infection being fought. As a massage therapist, you should not massage them. They are hard and bean-like, and when pressure is exerted on them, although they will be painful, this pain will not ease off and can get worse. Further to these nodes there are nodules, which are slightly different structures. These are standalone lymphoid tissues that produce lymphocytes. They are positioned around the body to provide the first line of immune defence where the external environment comes into contact with the body's internal systems. Locations include the upper respiratory tract, small intestine and the urinary tract. There are also 3 lymphatic organs that are important to recognise. The first of these is the spleen. This organ is located in the upper left abdomen and is there to store and release lymphocytes as part of the immune response. It is especially adapted to filter and recycle blood cells. The second of these is the thymus. This is located against the trachea and above the superior vena cava. It is not only important for providing immunity in small children, but is also crucial in the maturation and programming of a type of aggressive lymphocyte called T cells. The final organ are the tonsils. These are located at the back of the throat and mouth, and it is their job to identify toxins at the earliest possible opportunity. It is important to consider how you can influence this system. As a massage therapist, you will have the power, through light effleurage alone, to increase mobilisation of up to 78% of static lymph. This means that massage is influential in reducing edema, which can be helpful with regards to injury rehabilitation, post-surgical recovery, or in post-exercise massage. However, it is also important to note that because you are mobilising this fluid, your client is likely to become blocked up during a treatment as lymph is moved around. This will ease 10 to 30 minutes post-treatment. The other risk you'll be aware of is treating someone who is unwell. As you increase circulation, you will increase filtration at the nodes. This is a good thing, but can increase the movement of a virus or bacteria, and therefore increase someone's symptoms. It is for this reason that you are contraindicated to treat anyone unwell or suffering from cancer, for example, as you may be able to spread mutated cells. However, this is not proven scientifically. So that's the lymphatic system. You can refer now to the questions and tasks online before you move into the final physiology sections.